Hi folks, Puffin here with another Antifa News Briefa. This is just a longer version about the end of Netanyahu. It is June 4th, 2021, and they're finally reporting on getting rid of Netanyahu. There were a few days ago, there was reports that he was about to get outed. Yesterday, there was something else about it, but today was the first day looking up his name. I was able to find out the guy that's replacing him, who's a guy named Bennett, who is actually more right-wing than Netanyahu, unfortunately. But there's some good things about that. He's taking over. First of all, Netanyahu's leaving, so that's good. That's Antifa celebration right there, Antifa party hat on. Because he's a terrorist, and you can't stick with a terrorist that long. Eventually, you're going to say, oh, we don't really want to support a terrorist anymore. But they're good. They have potential internal terrorism problems. Like somebody might assassinate Netanyahu, somebody might try to assassinate Bennett. They've already assigned a military squad to protecting Bennett because Netanyahu's terrorists, his terrorist supporters, might commit terrorist actions to mess things up in the intervening week before before the new government takes over. Now, never really good to celebrate another fascist taking office because this guy Bennett is a fascist too. He's a Nazi. He called children terrorists. He says they're not children, they're terrorists. So anybody who says that is a Nazi and really shouldn't be allowed to have power. But they're working it out that he's a better deal than Netanyahu, because Netanyahu's been a terrorist all this time and is fully committed and shown his willingness to follow up those words with murders. So, unfortunately, Bennett might be the same way, but that won't be a benefit. But the fact that he's extremely right wing might be a benefit for the transition. He gets to be president for 2 years, and then a guy named Lapid, I'm not sure how to say it, because again, they never say these people's names. They never talk about these people. They never talk about the opposition. But the leftist opposition is a more reasonable person entirely. He's named Lapid, and he will take over as president in the second 2 years of the term. So the right-wing president gets the transition period, which can apparently be very volatile in Israel because these Israeli terrorists might terrorize people to try to mess it up, or after he takes over, they might start some terrorism or start some type of problems to give him problems. Just like you see these pipeline hacking and meat packing hacking to give Joe Biden problems. Well, who gave some Russian hackers the passcodes to these major infrastructures of America, and they just started using them in the months that Joe Biden took over? Well, Trump gave them the passcodes. So that's what you have to worry about. You have to worry about the same type of thing. Or I read an article saying that it's similar to the transition from Trump to Biden, that Netanyahu may still, in this final week, when people are deciding, try to get people assassinated, try to do some crazy terrorist stuff, because he's a crazy terrorist, that to stay in power. Just like Trump is still trying to stay in power or whatever. And, it's going to really serve America best when Trump is like safely locked away and they have like a camera on him or something. He'll probably like that too. They'll have like a 24-hour camera on him in his cell that lets everybody know, there he is. He's right there. He's right there. He's not doing anything else. He's right there. But at least Trump already canceled his blog or something. So he's realizing that his popularity is all Russian trolls. And, hopefully the right everywhere will either realize that or be exposed for that, because you do have the same Putin paid Russian trolls supporting all these right-wing presidents and candidates everywhere. And we're done with it, like we don't have to go to Russia to shut that down. We can go on the internet to shut it down, for one thing. We can actually respond to it for what it is, call these people out. But it's like we can remove their leaders. If they're going to align themselves with these certain people, we can remove those people. So it's a good thing that Netanyahu's leaving. It's unfortunate in some ways that a more right-wing candidate is even out there, or that any right-wing candidates are out there. We don't need a right wing to fly. Like, we can get rid of all of that. It's not a balance to anything. It's not good for anything. So I believe in our power as people. I believe in the power of fairies and magic and everything. I believe in everything being able to come together and get rid of this bad stuff. And here we go. We're starting to do it. Even a right-wing and left-wing party in Israel are coming together to at least kick out Netanyahu. So I can almost imagine like Mitt Romney teaming up with Stacey Abrams to, just, or maybe not Mitt Romney. I can't think of who you got from the right. He's one of your better ones, I guess. Liz Cheney teams up with Stacey Abrams to just revamp the whole system, just kick out the old guard, start again fresh. That would be exciting. People would like that. You get a lot of new people, and you wouldn't miss any of the old bad people, So anyway, they're comparing this to Biden and Trump. I guess in some ways maybe Biden's to the right of Trump, but really what they're comparing in the article that I saw was the transition, that it's a dangerous transition, that just like Trump tried to ignite his insurrection January 6th, and I saw an article today that Pence says Trump and I will never see eye to eye on January 6th. Like, he's supposed to actually see it as a threat. Trump actually saw it as a heroic act. Again, if Trump's going to keep doubling down on this, why can't you arrest him for his role? He's not like he's going to try to deny that he orchestrated it. Call it what it actually is. You use the actual mechanisms of justice against it, just like calling Netanyahu a terrorist. I just call him a terrorist on my YouTube channel. And if you watch this, not that many people watch this in 2021. But it's true. You can say things that the future bears out to be true. And nobody wants to be on team terrorist. So let's call all these people out for terrorism. Putin, Trump, Netanyahu, Bolsonaro, Modi. I made a video about it a week ago calling them out for terrorism. And here you go. Now it's starting to happen. And I made a thank you subscribers video about a month ago saying, stop the war in Gaza. And they managed to pull off that ceasefire at least. Now that's what's under threat, because a terrorist will do anything to avoid, because once he loses power, he faces justice. Just like Trump is starting to face justice now that he's less power. But it's like swiffen it up a little bit. Like, go ahead and show that it's going to be more than just some financial stuff with your Trump organization or whatever. It's going to be treason. It's going to be genocide. It's going to be terrorism charges. And all these carry death penalty. So, like, I was saying it all along, end the death penalty now. All through the Trump era, I was saying, end the death penalty now, because the life you save may be your own. So, stop the terrorism. I've said it before, and I'll say it about Netanyahu. If they had let their justice system, their election system work, if he hadn't clung to power so tenaciously, he wouldn't have done the most recent bad things he'd done. If the first impeachment of Trump had kicked him out, he wouldn't have done the insurrection. And even though he escaped the second impeachment because his cronies, that in the end, really, justice demands that you round up all those cronies. That everybody who votes for Trump is a criminal and a terrorist and a traitor. And you arrest him and you imprison him for that treason, for supporting Trump, who's clearly a traitor, clearly a terrorist, clearly responsible for this Trump virus genocide. So once we start calling these people out as terrorists, we'll start treating them as terrorists, and we'll start ending this. So thanks for watching, sharing, commenting. See you soon.